you are all well. Uh, Welcome back to my channel. And this is Tisha Oliphant. If you are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I was just looking for my child there quickly. And yeah, so if you are new, I'm Tisha Oliphant. Welcome to this channel, and I've got my kids who've been here for a while. Thank you for your support. And if you like the content, please do subscribe. And if you have subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I'm sure you've seen the caption. Today we'll be talking about traveling, guys. Every now and then I'll talk about finances or financials, but I will always revert back to traveling because, yeah, traveling is what keeps me going. I work hard to be able to travel, and I don't only travel abroad, I travel within my country, which is South Africa. I also travel, yeah, in Africa as well, and I'm planning to do more travels there. Hi, Bui, welcome, welcome, welcome. So I've traveled, and if you've been following me when I started this channel, few months later, I decided to resign and I took a gap year to travel the world. Thanks for liking, Sissy, and those who are coming in, please do like. I truly appreciate, and yes, please do like and please do share the video. So I took a gap year to travel, and I traveled for over 7 months. I still can't believe it. I traveled for over 7 months, and today I thought I'll do a sit down because there's people who ask sometimes where I've been, how did I find it. So I decided I'll do a sit down and talk about how many countries I actually traveled to. So I traveled, took a gap year, took my investments, and it wasn't an overnight, that you have to believe. And those who stick with me do know that it takes time to build. Hi, Bonnie, welcome, welcome, Sissy. And it took time to make sure that this dream does come true. And eventually, after years of investing and saving and planning, okay, which apparent, and to be honest, this travel wasn't properly planned, so I didn't have an Excel spreadsheet or any app that said I'll start here and go there and move from there and go elsewhere. I just did it according to my heart. So for over 7 months I traveled to 14 countries. Yes, 1 4. Still unbelievable, but I'm glad I did it. And I did go to 3 continents. My goodness. 3 continents, which was Asia, Europe, and South America. Those were the 3 continents I traveled to. And I started in Asia. So I did most countries in Asia, and it was refreshing. Asia, as we know, is not as expensive as Europe, so I wanted my rent to stretch. I wanted to travel to much more countries, or else I wouldn't have traveled for more than 7 months if I only went straight to Europe, because yes, we know the euro is far much stronger than the rands. I'm not saying all Asian countries are affordable, but most of the countries that I went to went that bad. So today I said I'll sit down and review all 14 countries, all 3 continents that I traveled to during my gap year. I see you, Zamambata, and I see you, Harold. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The first country that I traveled to was Thailand. So I'll give the pros and cons. I'll start with what I loved and what I didn't like with some of the countries. And guys, traveling is personal. And what I've also picked up, there's countries which I've traveled more than once. There's countries like Thailand, I've been 3 times, Turkey, I've been there 3 times as well. Indonesia, Bali, I've been twice. And I'm thinking of another one because there's another, Mexico, I went twice. And these countries, every time you go, you get a different experience. And why I'm saying this, someone can review a country and highlight what didn't suit them. You might go Zamambata and get there and love the country. And I'm sure you guys are also travelers, and I hope and pray. And you might say you didn't like a certain country, but someone else might rave about that particular country. So as I'm sharing my 14 countries that I traveled to during gap year and what I liked and what I'll recommend and what I didn't like, please do also share which countries you've been to and which ones really warm your hearts and which ones you think you'll rather stay away, and what are the reasons for that. What did you like about that particular country that you've traveled to, or countries, and what what didn't you like and what did you fall in love with? So my first country was Thailand. Oh, Thailand, there's so much to see. It is a huge country which with so many states, if I'm saying it correctly. And I would love to go to states or provinces. I think they call them states, and I still want to go to others. So as much as I've been to Thailand 3 times, I'm still gonna go to Thailand over and over again. And another reason is that the Thai bahts, which is their currency, is much weaker than the rand. So you go to Thailand, you can get so much done. I just found so much interesting things to do in Thailand. There's so many activities, and just like Africa or South Africa, to be specific, Thailand gives you the urban view, it gives you the ocean view, there's unending islands, you can even see the mountains. So there is actually so very much to do. And Thailand, as a South African citizen, you don't need a visa. And to be honest with you, the countries that I traveled to during my gap year, most of them I didn't need to apply for a visa. Some of them were visa free, others were visa on arrival. There's only one country that I went to which I needed to apply for a visa, which was Mexico, before I left South Africa. So there's so much to do in Thailand. Shopping, they've got markets for days, all types, all sorts. There's a train markets where everyone lays their goods and sells there, and when the train approaches, they quickly move the stuff for the train to move, and they'll put their goods back as though it's not a railway line. So very interesting. What I also loved about Thailand is unending massage places. Every second business offers a Thai massage, and I'm a sucker for Thai massages. So I slept in them. I lost count of how many I did. I'll skip a day and go for a massage because massages are a big part of my life. I go for massages even here in South Africa. And the food. However, their food is on the sweeter side. So they are spices, their pastes. When they make curry, they pour sugar, and they also put sugar on the table when we put salt and pepper. So that was sort of a cultural shock, but I love Thai cuisine, and I find it lighter, much healthier for someone like me. And in Thailand, which is Bangkok, where I went to, I found people to be nice and warm, and they mind their own business. And ubani loyo. Okay, I'll sort that. Don't worry, sweet. I'll time that person. I don't even think I've got moderators, so the person is gone. So I love the food. And another place that used to be reasonable, and it's funny because they say people travel the world to go to Thailand and not try Thai food, but go to 7-Eleven. So when your budget is tight, and I'm sure I've shared this on one of my videos when I shared my travel in Thailand, that 7-Eleven is your best bet. It's an awesome supermarket, and it also have food stuff, your burgers, your Asian food, which will be your noodles, your rices. If you don't have, obviously you can't go to restaurant every day. I don't go to restaurant every day, even here in South Africa, unless you are a restaurant person and a hopper, or when you don't get tired of restaurant food every day while traveling. So I enjoyed the shopping side of things, and food, massages, the people, the weather, hot, but yeah, humid 10 times more than Durban in South Africa. So if you live in Durban, just multiply that by 10. That is Thailand for you. What was a problem for me in Thailand, or what I didn't like, was the fact that they don't cater for chubby people, plus sizes, a person who's built like me. They don't cater for them. So even shoes, they've got smaller Yana shoes, and it makes sense. Thai people are small builds, so you don't expect an extra large. But there are shops that are specifically for people who are like you, large, and their medium is a small or extra small in South Africa. So I found that a bit challenging because their currency is much less, like I said, when you want to shop. When you go to a country where you can take advantage of their currency, you want to shop till you drop. And yeah, that was limiting because you really struggle to find a size. And it makes sense. Why cater for a plus size when majority of your citizens are tiny and petite? So that was one of the challenge. And even with like your sunscreen and makeup, you need to take your shade. And I'm sure this applies to many countries. If it's not African countries, you're going to struggle to get a darker shade or shade of makeup or a screen protector or sun protector that matches your complexion. So that was Thailand. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Cambodia was my next country. And I want to say I only went to, is it I don't want to say it wrong, Phnom Penh, and I said it right before this live, and that's their capital city. And I want to say this, guys, don't travel to a country and only go to a capital city. I wouldn't want anyone to only travel and go to maybe Pretoria, and not go and check other provinces as well to see what they have to offer. Go also to Limpopo, go to Mpumalanga, go to Northwest, because capital city is city, and it's, yeah, most cities are the same. And yeah, that's where you'll find sometimes dodgy people. It's too busy, it's not relaxed. But I wouldn't say skip a capital city, because most of the airports you find which they are in the capital city. So Cambodia, unfortunately, I only went to Phnom Penh, which is their capital city, and I didn't go to the rural side. I love to add the rural side, the chilled side as well, or the beach area as well, so that I fully experience the country. So the capital city, no, it wasn't for me, but it wasn't too bad. I can't say, oh, it was something else. And what I liked about Cambodia was the richness of their history. And I found it in most countries, and even here in South Africa. You come here, we've got museum, and we tell you about the South African history. So most countries are proud when it comes to their history. As a traveler, you just need to take time and go and understand their country's history, or read about it before you leave. And some people travel to a certain country because of history. And what was challenging for me in Cambodia was the fact that there are so many motorbikes, and there are other Asian countries as well which are like that, just like Bali, Indonesia. So the motorbikes were all over, struggled to cross the road. You have to be strategic. You have to stand next to locals and just, cross quickly. There were less traffic lights coming from Johannesburg. I'm used to so many traffic lights. So that was challenging. Crossing the road, you had to pray and ask God to, safeguard you. It was a big thing. And what shocked me, Cambodia, and it was my second country, was in how big and massive SEX tourism was. And that was Cambodia. And I didn't stay long. I think I was in Cambodia for 4 nights and 5 days. So I didn't stay long. Then Malaysia. Malaysia was always on top of my travel list, just like Spain. And I haven't been to Spain. So when I landed in Malaysia, I was like, let's see. I've always loved this country. And I didn't want to go fast like that. Guys, Thailand. So I collect I'm a fridge magnet every time I travel. This is Thailand. This is the one I got in Cambodia. Yeah, and I went to this building, and I want to tell about the history, but we've passed. And then Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, that's where I went, and Malacca, which is more a rural side of Malaysia. So I went to two cities in Malaysia, which makes a huge difference than just going to one city or one area. And in Thailand, it was Thailand and Phi Phi Island. So I saw also the beauty of the island. Cambodia, like I said, it was only the city, and I only spent 4 nights there. So yeah, Malaysia was always on my list. Loved Malaysia before I even landed. What I loved about the country was the diversity. I mean, it has all types, all sorts. Thank you, Zamambata. Guys, please do like the video. I truly appreciate, and thanks to those who've liked, subscribe if it resonates with you. If you watch later, do not skip the ads. Thank you in advance. I love the fact that it's a country with diverse beings, just like South Africa. So I felt a bit at home. You know, it's got the Malay people, it's got the Chinese people, and it's got Indians. And what resonated with me is that when I go to an Indian restaurant, you'll find an Asian or Chinese person eating at an Indian restaurant. And I thought to myself, I wish our diversity was at that level, that you can go to Soweto and find a South African white person. I'm not saying they don't go, but it's mostly tourists sitting as a kumzi and having something to eat and having something to drink. I wish I could go to small streets and find a colored person also selling, you know, hairpiece and clothing at small, not just Africans. So their diversity was too rich, and yeah, you could see good they collaborate on another level. So they've accepted one another, they respect one another, they even share the business spaces. It's not a matter of we've got diverse, we are diverse and we've got different races, but we are segregated. In this area you only find this, in this area you only find this. Although when I spoke to one of the drivers, he did say, you know, there's like everywhere else, there's elite and there's poor people. However, they try and integrate and live in harmony. And Malaysia, that stole my heart, and I wish I could bring it here and have a public schools where you will find all races. I'm not saying all public schools don't have that, but let's have all of them where you find everyone, not where when you've made money, you only take your kids to a certain area and only those who are less fortunate are left at a certain area. So that was it for me with Malaysia. And I like the fact that we could use Ungogo when she finally joined me during my travels. We took a bus from Malaysia to Singapore. We know Malaysia is closer to Singapore. Singapore is closer to Bali. So you can take a you can take a bus from Malaysia to Singapore. Once you've explored Singapore, you can take a bus to Bali. So you can travel like that next time you plan. When countries are close to one another, you don't need to be flying everywhere. Use all modes of transportation, save money, and save the environment. We want it green because, yes, we know how the environment is impacted. So what I didn't like about Malaysia was the fact that the reviews on the hotel or accommodation sites spoke highly of some of the places that smells not good, you know, like the sewer. I don't think they have the best sewage system, and it's not only in Malaysia. Some, or should I say most Asian countries, some Asian countries, you had to dig for a hotel where people are not talking about the smell that's coming from the drainage, a smell that's coming from a bathroom. So that was a challenge. I had to search and search, and the minute I saw one review that said this hotel doesn't smell great, this accommodation doesn't smell great, I would back off because I didn't didn't want to sit in a car, when I'm there to visit and explore and have fun. So you gotta find that. Read your reviews before you make a decision. You're going to see which hotel. And this was not isolated to Malaysia. Even Bali had that sewer issue. So read up. And what put me off as well with Malaysia was the tourism taxes, which have just been introduced to Indonesia, Bali as well. And I think I read 2 months ago that they also have introduced about tourism taxes. So you pay for the hotel, you get to the hotel, you get charged a 10%, 15%, depending on the, I think it's regulated. So I can't recall, it's between 10 and 15% rates of tourism taxes. So be prepared, plan better, make sure your budget is tight and it's on point. Then after in Malaysia, let's see if I've got, okay, I've showed you Malaysia. Then I went to Bali. Beautiful Indonesia, Bali. I love the country. The weather is awesome. They've got oceans galore as well. Friendly citizens, which will just approach you randomly. Almost everyone, they really respect our tourists. They know you're bringing money, so they care for you. I love the waterfalls in Bali. I went and just spend time there, cleansing, praying, admiring the beauty, the greenery, go to the rice fields. I think this was taken in one of the rice fields. And apparently this is one of the functions that they have, but this was Ubud in 1976. So this is one of the functions that they have yearly, where they'll carry the baskets of fruits and all that, because they also big on fruit. And I enjoyed their food as well in Bali. Their nasi goreng, and in Malaysia there's nasi lemak. So I must actually make some of the foods that I've eaten during my gap here. Just, relive that life and share with you and explain which food is for which country, because I did highlight the food that stood out for me, the food that I enjoy. I'll actually make time and do that. What I didn't like about Bali was the stray dogs. Oh my word, I just like the stray cats in Turkey, the stray dogs everywhere, and some are very vicious. They will bark, they will run behind you. I just didn't like the stray dogs. I didn't like, in most Asian countries, the smoking in public. You enter the restaurant, it doesn't have dedicated spaces for smoking. Smoke smells everywhere. And they don't have strict rules when it comes to smoking, just like in South Africa. I'm spoiled. I'm from SA. We don't just smoke all over in front of kids and public transports and all that. So the smoking was a culture shock. I was like, what is this life? What are you doing, guys? But it's their life and they are used to it. And I wrote something here, but now I cannot read it. Besides smoking, I don't know what put me off in Bali that I wrote, but certainly I cannot read. Maybe it's a good thing. Then it was Philippines. I went to Philippines because I wanted to island hop, because Philippines have over 1,000 islands. I was excited, but unfortunately I got to Philippines and I got ill. And I've shared a video about all these countries that I've traveled to. So I just could not island hop anymore. Instead, I was like, oh gosh, let me leave as quickly as I get well. So I didn't even wait to get well and explore further. Philippines, I think I stayed there for about, a week. I didn't stay long. And Bali, I went back twice. That's how much I loved it. Malaysia, I went back twice as well. First solo, then second time with Unogo. Bali. Oh, but no, yes, you need to be very careful about Bali. So basically, guys, buy your water. I buy more water here in SA, but our water is safe to drink. But in countries, most countries or some countries before they come for me in Asia and some parts of the world, you have to buy water because their water is not safe to drink. And Bali, and I'm glad you asked, Martha, when we spoke, because it's Bali Bailey. Bali Bailey is, when you get food poisoning, basically they call it Bali Bailey. And if you're gonna you have to drink store-bought water. It's not negotiable because in some hotels or accommodation will have a sign that the water is not drinkable. Don't even brush with it, especially when you come from a country like ours. Use store-bought. Some accommodations will provide you with one bottle a day, depending on where you are booked, but go and buy amanzi, brush with store-bought, drink store-bought. And when you walk around, I enjoy to leave or travel and eat with the locals, and this was my gap year, so I was traveling for a prolonged period. It wasn't a vacation is different. You budget 50,000, you go to the best hotels, you blow your money, you do the fancy stuff. This I made sure my money goes as long as or as far as it can before I return back to SA. So if you're gonna buy street food, be careful of things like ice, ice lollies, because juices, because they're gonna use their own water, or ice cubes. The chances are they're not from the store-bought water, so that can cause you ibali belly. And I always look at where the street restaurant is located. If it's exposed to sun, wherever I travel, whether Thailand, Bali or Malaysia or Cambodia, if the person's setup where they're selling the food is right facing sun, chances are that food will cause you upset stomach, it will cause food poisoning. So use your initiative. And once you are down because you are not well, and more especially because you've got the food poisoning, guys, food poisoning is serious, and seek help as soon as you can. Rush and get help. Go to a doctor immediately and get the antibiotics. Don't take it for granted. And obviously, you're gonna feel a fever, you're gonna feel nauseous. And I'm not a doctor, but those will be the signs. And Martha, it's not only Bali belly that can hit you when you visit Bali. They also have dengue, even in Thailand. You can suffer from a dengue fever. What is that? It's their mosquitoes that carries a poison, and it depends on when you actually travel. If you travel to Asia during rainy season, make sure you vaccinate yourself. Make sure you take some medication. So go to your travel doctor and tell them because you're going to these countries and it's rainy season. Most probably your travel doctor will even know that, and ask which medication can you take. Wear long sleeves. Don't be outside with the top out and whatever, because once those mosquitoes hit you, that's it. You can actually contract the dengue fever, and it can also put you down. And we all know, Gucci, for others, it can get fatal depending on which stage of it. I think the severity, the strain, they call it, which strain you get. So be careful of Bali belly. Be careful of dengue fever. But I've given you tips on how to avoid those. But guys, our lives are not in full control. You can do what you can do, but the rest remains with God. So yeah, that was it about Bali. And be ready for those stray dogs, but go and enjoy. Bali is beautiful. Don't forget to eat your floating breakfast. Don't forget to go to Ubud and go to the rice terrace fields, and go to the Bali swing. All these tourists at destinations, but do spend time with our locals. I did that a lot when I traveled. I might have not go to rural areas in most of my countries, but I just kept with locals, asking them questions, learning from them, understanding their culture, asking about their daily foods, and asking them to take me with them wherever to buy and try it out, but always keep safe, more especially when you're traveling solo. Make sure someone knows where you are at, which country you're traveling to, at what time, which flights, the whole shebang. I think I've done a video on what to do when you travel solo. So that was Bali, and I spoke about Philippines. Then I went with Ugogo to Singapore. Singapore, traveled by bus from Malaysia to Singapore. Singapore was one of the very interesting countries, clean. And I forgot to say, Malaysia, what I also liked was the high rise buildings. It gave me the Joburg Center City view. They have these high rise, stunning skyscrapers, they call them in Malaysia. Singapore has also high rise buildings, not as massive as in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, where they are it's a whole stretch of those buildings. Singapore was very clean. Singapore was very safe. Not to say other countries went, but I remember we were walking when we just arrived with our bus. I think we arrived later, around 7 or 8. We went to our hotel, refreshed, and there was a time when 11 o'clock at night, we were walking the streets of Singapore. And guys, I wish every South African woman can travel to a country and just leave their accommodation 12 o'clock midnight and just take a walk. Whether you are training, whether you are walking for no reason, just walk, because it's something we don't have a privilege of. So when I travel to countries that are regarded as safer, not even if they say a country is safe, you must still always apply a precaution, use your common sense, if I may put it that way. But Singapore is very strict, guys. And there's countries where they still have hang bal if you do unalive someone. So you walk with pride, knowing, I'm safe. And yeah, so Singapore, 11 o'clock at night, we were walking the streets looking for a coffee shop, and free, not even checking the back or worrying. Oh, that was heaven for me. That was heaven. Which is the most rent friendly? Where does the rent stretch the most amongst the Asian countries you visited? Thailand, sis. Thailand. That's why most people, but I'm going to Bangkok. So Thailand is where you should be if you want to live like a queen, mother, and enjoy your rent. Because even in Bali or Indonesia, the rand is weaker. However, their cost of living is a bit higher, but yeah, Malaysia is quite expensive. So you need to, I think at that time when I went, it was 1:4, 4.5. So it's quite expensive. Singapore is the one of the cons that I have for Singapore. Okay, what I loved about Singapore is the cleanliness, it's the laws. They've got laws for days, others were just for too much for me. Everything is about you'll be fined if you chew a gum, you'll be fined if you don't clean up after eating at a restaurant, at a table, you get fined in Singapore. You'll be fined if you don't, you jaywalk, you'll be fined if you do this. So there's rules in Singapore, and I guess that's why everything is straightforward and they enforce those rules. However, what was challenging for me was it is expensive. Most expensive Asian country that I traveled to was Singapore. Was there for my birthday, for Gogo's birthday, so we did a joint birthday celebration in Singapore. And yes, it was pricey, but we were there for 3 nights, I think, and we decided to take a bus back to Malaysia again, because we were like, okay, no. We planned even before we went there, we'll spend a short period. We don't want to overdo. Even their hotels are on the most expensive side. Their food, and yeah, you need to plan better, to plan well in advance, or be wealthy to spend about 2 weeks in Singapore, but I loved it. I loved the safer side, the cleaner side, and the fact that I could just walk freely without worrying. Then I went to Sri Lanka, and I say we because that's where we went with Tungongo. So we traveled to 4 countries with Tungongo, which was Thailand. She joined me. I did Thailand with Unonsi. I did in Thailand with Ungongo, and then Ungongo came for Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka was with Ungongo, and oh my gosh, Sri Lanka is beautiful, underrated, not spoken about country. Guys, please go to Sri Lanka. You're gonna love it. I loved the scenery. It's green, it's lush. Obviously, you're gonna start in Colombo, which is their capital city, but then move out, guys, and go to your Stella and go see the rural side of Thailand. Is Sri Lanka is beautiful. The people are friendly, but boy oh boy, like I said on my video, they can stay. All of them, young, old, middle age, they will stand and drop everything and sometimes drop their jaw and look at you. You know, you just fascinate them. Fun enough, and I'll say it again, they've got the same skin color as us Africans. Yeah, but they get a shock. You know, when I get that treatment in countries such as Turkey, it's different. They are fair. Maybe some people haven't seen Africans or black people or brown skinned people. But in Sri Lanka, I was like, yo, these guys can stare at you as though your skin is it's yellow, like totally different from theirs, but amazing people, approachable, helpful. The food, if you love spicy Indian food, their food was the best. It's one Asian country that their food was so close to South African food because it's spicy, it is seasoned, it is tasty. They are I tried biryani. Oh my goodness, to die for, So I love Sri Lanka, guys. I just love. And funny enough, I just couldn't come up with what I didn't like about Sri Lanka. I'm still thinking, what put me off in Sri Lanka? And I'm sure there was something that, apart from the drivers, when you book a tuk-tuk, and this happens to some countries as well, not isolated to Sri Lanka, they'll want to take you to some shops, guys, refuse. If you book a tuk-tuk to to watch a movie, tell the driver and understand, I'm only going to watch the movie. Take me to this specific destination. I don't want to be taken around the place, because then you get there, they sell to you, they force you to buy, and sometimes, quarrel starts, and that's a thing. How's the food in Thailand? The food is good, since I spoke about it, but it's on the sweeter side. Do ask for hots, but their hots is our lemon and herb. So if you don't want it to be sugary and sweetish, and because they big on sweet and sour, even their spices, do ask for hot. So when you say hot, at least you'll get something better. And what's great about Thailand is their fruits. Oh, loved their fruits. And try it's not rice pudding. Can't remember what they call it, but that mango rice pudding. It's a big part of their cuisine as a dessert. You're gonna love it. So I enjoyed the food. If you love noodles, it's noodles for breakfast, noodles for lunch, noodles for supper, noodles and rice. They've got all types, all kinds of noodles, egg noodles, so expect that in Thailand. But you're gonna enjoy their food. And if Ubuntu who enjoys stir fries, you'll get a lot of that, and healthy. They use a lot of veggies as well. Soup. Thailand is hot, boiling hot and humid, but you will eat. You find people sitting at restaurants eating isu. And what I love about it is the air conditioning that is everywhere. Inside the BTS, which is their public trains, and guys, do use public transport. It will save you a lot of money. It will allow you to spend your money somewhere else. I used public transport for all these countries. Never private taxi, hardly Uber. If I couldn't put it, it was very rare. Public transport, go where the locals are. You'll spend $1 instead of finding yourself coughing out $45, more especially when you leave the airport. Airports are normally very far from where we are heading to, like cities and our accommodation. So don't just call an Uber, don't just jump into a private taxi. Ask, research before you leave your country. Use public transport. I used it all the time, from trains to buses, you name it, the whole works. And you're not gonna disappear. You're not gonna disappear, I promise you. Stay safe, ask the right people, get the right information, and just be safe. So yeah, that was Sri Lanka. I love Sri Lanka, guys. I get excited. There's countries that just warms my heart. Just thinking of them and looking back, my memories are like, and I love the train side of things. You don't go to Sri Lanka and not take a train. And we went to more like the greenery side. I don't want to say rural, a caddy with a train, and hoping to go to the other side and take. They do have a tourist train that you can take, and as you travel through the train, guys, picture perfect for all the content creators. And the tourist train has set days, so, and you need to book beforehand. You don't want to be disappointed. It has Wi-Fi, it has aircon, they give refreshments. It's quite a bit, but it's worth it. And they stop at interesting destination. You hop off, take pictures, then it goes, and yeah, until it gets to a destination. Then I went to, okay, that was Sri Lanka. Here's my with a train. You can look at that scenery. You cannot go to Sri Lanka and not board a train and travel around Sri Lanka and look how the beauty, guys, breathtaking views. Singapore, I couldn't get Ilona. We needed to go to a market to get Ilona, the magnet. So I decided to take a key ring, which I put on my fridge anyway for Singapore. And as you can see, and guys, talking about Singapore, if you're gonna be in transit in Singapore, please do explore the airport. They've got so much to offer. Ask around, research before you leave. If you'll be in transit for a longer period at the Singapore airport, there's plenty to do, guys. There is plenty. You can swim there. You can go to their fountains. Their airport is out of this world. It's just like Dubai airports. There's so much to do, and I'll do a separate video about what you can do at Dubai airport. Then it was Turkey. I'm trying to see. Okay, this one I think I bought years ago when I first went to Turkey, because when I first went, I went to Istanbul and Antalya. And second time it was Kayseri and Cappadocia. So this is Istanbul. And yeah, very interesting. And then you see that evil eye, they big on that evil eye. You can see it on the key rings, you see it on their jewelry. And yeah, I'm thinking of something that someone said about other religions when I look at the evil eye, and I think of my Catholic religion. But anyway, I won't go there. So Turkey, very interesting country. Love Turkey, been in Turkey 3 times. And Turkey has so much to offer. Shopping, go to Turkey. People sell things for stuff from Turkey or goods from Turkey in South Africa. Quality out of this world. I went to Turkey bought a dress for one of my children's big function, and she loved it and it fitted her like a glove. And I came back, I needed to get a shoe, went to Fortsburg, and guess what? Most of those shoes I saw in Turkey. So when I came back from Turkey, went to Fortsburg, and I was like, what? I saw these shoes in Turkey, and they were so expensive here in South Africa, obviously because they are imports. And I was like, why didn't I buy my shoes in Turkey? I wanted to kick myself. And they are written made in Turkey, so they big on textiles. They do have events. If you are an interior designer or a dressmaker or a seamstress, I'm sure you've been to Turkey more than once to attend such events. Sorry guys. So Turkey is big on and Turkish people dress up. Yeah, they dress to kill. They like people in Spain. They always on point. And I'm sure there's other countries where dressing up is their thing. The whole country dresses up. Turkey is one of them. And also they've got the ocean side, which is your Antalya. There's a lot. And Turkey, guys, is huge. You don't need to even restrict yourself. Obviously, you land here in Istanbul. Once you are here, spend a day or one night and move out. Go to Izmir, go to Cappadocia, go to Antalya. They've got another one that's similar to go to Bodrum. Turkey is huge and Turkey is beautiful. So there's that one that I'm thinking of as well. I haven't been and I still want to go. I love the shopping side, the ocean. And in Cappadocia, you find the hot air balloon. You saw my video where I went for the experience, photo shoot and the flying dress, which most people do in Greece. You can do in Turkey. You can even do it in Istanbul. You can go for horse riding while you are wearing that dress, or the horses are next to you. I still want to do that. And there's just so much to see in Turkey. And what I didn't like about Turkey, I'm a con artist, so you book a driver to take you somewhere and they quickly want to scam you as a tourist. So be careful, ask them to switch on the meter, insist, don't go in and quarrel with them. Turkish people speak is Turkish, so hardly English, and even if they do, it's that borrowed English. So fighting with someone who doesn't even understand your language, and here you are googling, translating while you are fighting. When you are fighting, you gotta speak your mother tongue. Ufuna ukuthi ungangijwayeli wena uzokuthi kube yincane indawo. So imagine trying to translate why you doing this, why you daylight robbery when a scam artist there. So avoid, guys. And if you can, they've got a convenient and reliable public transport. Use a public transport. Thank you, Tombi, Moti. Okay, nice. Belinda. Her name is Chloe, but I see Belinda there. Hi, Chloe. So yeah, just be careful of that, or of meeting strangers and they say, when I go back to work, I want to man. Okay, come with me to work, Wena. Come with me to work. And what did I want to say? Just do that and be safe and don't meet strangers. And someone was sharing along, this kind of scam has been around for years. We met someone and pretended also to be a tourist and went to a bar to have a drink. Before he knew, the bill was so massive. So this poor person should be paying for other people as well. And if you can't pay, then they drive with you around. Guys, just be careful when you travel, whether you are alone, especially when you are solo traveling, or you are with a family. Stick with your family, stick with your friends, and do not be taken for a ride. Ube streetwise, uvuke, especially if you are a South African baby, vuga, a chosen baby. Yeah, always keep your ears on the ground. And then I went to Georgia, and not Georgia in the US, but Georgia in Europe. So Turkey is part of Europe and Asia. and Georgia is Europe. So Tbilisi, and I did share a video of what I was up to in Tbilisi. Beautiful country. You can go there visa free, stay for 90 days as a South African. And Turkey, it's an e-visa, so you have to apply for it before you leave. The sooner you apply for it, the better, because they've got different prices for when you apply, 2 weeks before you leave, a few days before you leave, on the day you leave. I don't even think they've got on the day you leave. I think they've got 24 hours, and you pay far much more. So Georgia, I didn't have to pay a cent for e-visa, which I loved, and I love their architecture. Beautiful building, quirky, classic styles, and I just gagged Tbilisi. So this is the one that I collected, the stunning, and the cobbler stones on their streets. I loved this country, guys. I think it's also underrated, like Sri Lanka. If you get time, go to Georgia, but not the US Georgia. Watch my video about Georgia, Tbilisi. I only went to Tbilisi, which is their capital city, and their exchange rate in Georgia is also around 4 or 5 when I was there. 1:5. It is quite expensive, but it's beautiful. Since you just save a bit and go. And don't only go to Tbilisi, please. Go to other cities. I want to explore other cities when I go back. It is beautiful. And Tbilisi has so much to offer. Their food, they've got those amazing dumplings. They've got that boat-shaped breakfast, which has an egg in it. I loved Georgian cuisine. You can bring wine. Wine is reasonable there. I couldn't take wine. I was still traveling the world. I just can't wait where I travel and go to a specific country and come back to South Africa, having shopped, having bought some stuff. So I was so restricted with my traveling. First of all, I had a backpack, and yeah, I kept it going like that. I'll do a video of how I traveled with my backpack, why I traveled with my backpack for over 7 months to 3 continents in this world, and to 14 countries when I took my gap here. And thanks for liking, guys. Do continue liking, continue to share, and subscribe if you love what I normally share. So Georgia, guys, the buildings. If you are like me, you love beautiful buildings, you're gonna go crazy. And my cons, Martha, is that it's a bit pricey. It is pricey. And what I want to kick myself for is the fact that I didn't go for sulfur bath. When I was in Turkey, I went for a Turkish bath in a hammam. Don't miss spoiling my body at all. But I meant to go for a sulfur bath in Georgia. If you go to Georgia, whether you are in Tbilisi, more especially here, please go for a sulfur bath. Let's see if today this works, now that this thing is full of things. Why is it not working? Is it not a proper heart? Anyway, full of nonsense. And then, guys, in Mexico was my next country. So when I said I did 3 continents, it was Asia, South America, and Europe. And Mexico was part of South America, or sometimes they don't want to be regarded as a South America. What is this? Buso. I have no idea what you're saying. I would like to ignore you if it is a silly question, but if it's a question because that English is not English. Mexico, what I loved about Mexico, I was going for the second time. When for the first time we took go a few years ago, is the culture and entertainment. Mexico is one country you don't want to skip. And yes, a lot is said about Mexico, about safety and other things that I won't share here. But guys, go to Mexico. I went solo to Mexico the second time around, and I still loved it. And this is where I started. Cancun. Okay, the first time we went, no, we went to Cancun, we went to Playa, we went to Tulum. Oh, we were in heaven because we were on a vacation. We did everything. We stayed in top-notch hotels. The second time, I went back to the same resort in Cancun. Love that place. But guys, South America is South, it's America. It's the south of America. So we know where the dollar is. Even though they use Mexican pesos, but it is expensive. The currency is much stronger than the rand. So know your story. So I went to Cancun, I went to Merida, and I went to Valladolid. So I did 3 cities when I traveled solo in Mexico. Loved the culture, loved the music. Oh my word, love Latino music, guys. I listen to it even when I'm in SA. And the people, awesome, awesome. I learned a bit of Spanish. I spent a week at school, which I'm gonna talk about next. So Mexico is another country that is one of my favorite countries. Cons, pricey for a South African income and our rent. Rent maker, it was quite pricey. Uthini Mathama, if your talent a live video, you once said you will tell us you regret having a Thai massage, still waiting to. Oh, I'll make it, sis. Let me make a video tomorrow. Let me make a video tomorrow. Oh, the sun is leaving us. It's winter in SA, so the sun disappears quickly. Let me wrap up. And after Mexico, I went to one country that I love so much, guys. Guatemala, and I went to Antigua. I wanted to go out to Lake Atletan and I couldn't because they were, yeah, what I'll share now. So Guatemala, I love the fact that they are vegan friendly. So if you are big on healthy food and healthy meals like me, veggies, and guys, I made sure I eat healthy. Yes, I tried their sweet stuff. I tried different cuisines while traveling, but I made sure I eat a balanced meal because the last thing you want is to get sick while traveling. Make sure your immune system is high, is strong, is just standing solid on its 2 feet. So I love the food in Guatemala. They're big on veggies, they are greens, and they make awesome tasty food as well. And loved the churches there. I think I spent 3 weeks. I did do a video in Guatemala, in Antigua. That's how much I loved this country. It's a pity I didn't go to a live volcano, but I'll go back just for that to hike and experience that. I want to do it. One challenging, and some people said the hardest thing they've ever done in their lives was to hike that volcano. I want to go and experience it myself and breathe like I can't breathe anymore. I love such things because, yeah, I believe you live once. Try out things that you really love and don't preserve yourself and do nothing. When you're preserving yourself, at least be trying out things. So Guatemala, love the country. What I didn't like was the fact that I didn't, while there, I think my last week 2 or 3, they had a manifestation, they had voted, they had all their own political issues like most countries or African countries, most countries, and they were trying to sort out that. They were not happy with certain things in their government. So it really affected my travels to a point that I couldn't travel freely because some places were barricaded. And it was a mission to try and leave Guatemala, and I had to force. I've got a video how we yeah, we decided to leave in the middle of the night around 1 o'clock midnight because yes, they were toying during the day, and we had to plead and say we are tourists, we need to go back home, can you allow us to leave? That was a mission on its own, and the people that I was with, some of them were going to we were all going to different countries. and some missed their flights. So that was just isolated at the time when I traveled. When you go to Guatemala, do your research, read up the news. You might not face what I faced in Guatemala, but other than the challenge of manistifation manistifation, I loved a country. Then the next country that I went to, Pura Vida, Costa Rica, still in South America. Oh my goodness. As you can see how green this country is, and that's one of the animals. For the life of me, I can't remember the name, and I saw it and I took a video of it. And Costa Rica was awesome for me. I liked it. I loved the greenery. San Jose is their capital city. Started there, landed there, then went to, how can I forget it? I've got it in my mind. Not Latino. How can I forget the name? Fortuna was the rural side that I went to for the greenery and all that. Had fun, did a lot of videos, have some videos here, have some of the videos on Facebook as well. I loved Costa Rica. Excuse me. What I didn't like was the poor infrastructure. So Costa Rica, guys, if you really want to enjoy the country, you have to book or hire a car. But you need an international driver's license to drive in those countries like Europe and South America. So it gets challenging if you're gonna use a public transport, because it's not like us here in South Africa where you can drive from Johannesburg to Cape Town. Yes, it takes you hours, but the roads are there, they are clean, they're waiting for you. You can drive to Limpopo, you can drive to Northwest easily. Costa Rica is challenging when it comes to transportation because the infrastructure yakhona still needs to be worked on, and you need more days and you'll spend hours trying to travel from one city to the next city. And if you're using public transport like MOA at that time, you will have to take maybe 3 modes of transport, including a boat, to get to certain cities that are remote and beautiful and all that. So for me, that was a challenge. With everything is so far from one another, from each other, and it's not an easy, let me go get a bus and get there. You need different modes of transport to explore Costa Rica, and I didn't like that about Costa Rica. But other than that, it is a beautiful country, especially when you love hiking, when you love the greenery, and yeah, peace and birds chirping, streams of water, that type of life. You can visit Costa Rica, and Costa Rica runs programs where you can go and volunteer, go and be a farmer. If you're big on farming and you don't want to just be a farmer or know how to farm in our country, South Africa or Africa, you want to learn how they do it internationally, how they do it in South America, go join the program. You'll find they give you accommodation and food, and all you do is just give your time and learn and come back and plow in South Africa or in your own country. I'm good, Nason. Then it was this country, Nicaragua, and I went to Granada, Nicaragua. As you can see it, and I think I do have a picture of the specific building when I was in Granada in Nicaragua. Uh, Guys, I want to say something about in Nicaragua. Before I went to Nicaragua, my teacher, so yeah, in Guatemala, that's where I learned Spanish. I even stayed with a local family and their children while learning Spanish. So I spent time in the hotel, but I did spend a week with a family hosting me and practicing my Spanish. And both the mother and the father or the couple are teachers, so the school didn't come out. I've got a video that I shared with why I went to Guatemala to learn Spanish. And when I was in Guatemala, my teacher that was teaching me Spanish told me that I should not go to Nicaragua, And me being me, why it's not safe. Thinking, they say the same thing about South Africa, and I get so annoyed because I believe most countries aren't safe. You just have to, sorry guys, make sure that you care for yourself. I still went to Nicaragua, regardless. And yeah, I went with those Molagana planes, which was a nice experience. I've never taken those Molagana planes that someone sits on your lap. So it was an experience, and there's no refreshments, like your normal plane, man, guys. I forgot what they call them. When you leave South Africa and go to Swaziland, you board those type of planes. Very tiny. It was my first time. It was awesome. The scenery was, the view from that little Ghana plane was something else. And I got to Nicaragua, obviously with that in mind, Gucci. Oh my God, it's not the safest of countries. And guys, even if the country is not safe, stop scaring people. I know it's reality, but don't always talk about how unsafe the country. Also mention the great things that a person will find in that country. I don't highlight the fact that there's violent crime in South Africa when I speak with foreigners or people who are not in South Africa. I'll talk about the beauty of South Africa. Then I'll say, make sure your valuables are kept safe. You leave them in the hotel. Don't go to CBD unless you've got a tour guide. Don't go to these places when you are in South Africa, because even moi, as a South African, I avoid them. Not just, oh, it's unsafe. Oh, that country is unsafe. Oh, this country is on Nicaragua. I got a lot of how unsafe Nicaragua was. And landing in Nicaragua, I was already uncomfortable. And unfortunately, I couldn't explore Nicaragua as I wanted to, and not because I was told it's unsafe. And I was, even at the airport, be careful which taxi you take. You might land up in the wrong hands. So guys, listen to me and also apply that. Don't just take any taxi. Apparently, you'll end up in Kofifi land with strangers, and your life will be endangered, because that was mentioned to me so many times, to a point that I ended up not enjoying in Nicaragua. And unfortunately, I got sick in Nicaragua. I've got a video of Muade feeling very ill and wanting to leave. Another challenge, sorry guys, when I tried to leave Nicaragua to come back to South Africa, because Nicaragua was going to be my last country. Guys, I couldn't leave Nicaragua. I was in South America. I needed visas or in transit visa or whatever visas. If so, I needed to go to 2 countries. It was hectic. So research before you go anywhere. And then I needed to find where I can go to be able to leave South America and come to South Africa without having to apply for 2 visas, without having to spend a fortune and going to so many countries that will lead me to South Africa. And that's the tip for me. When you are in South America, find a country where you'll get a flight from there that will come. Not obviously, don't do one flight or straight flights to South Africa, but maybe it will take you to Turkey. From Turkey, you can come to South Africa. Nicaragua was a bad choice. I regretted, I can't say I regretted going, but I should have listened to the teachers. They say mothers knows best. Teachers knows best. So I had my challenges, got sick, and yeah, people were telling me, hey, be careful. I recall the driver, a taxi driver that dropped me at a bus station terminal, because I was taking a bus to somewhere else. I could see he was so stressed on my behalf. He thought, oh my word, they're going to have her for breakfast. Be careful. He told me 100 times, keep your phone away. Hold on to your bag. It tells you. If locals tells you and they've got their eyes that big, that country is very dangerous. That country is very dangerous. I even got it in hotels when I'll book and want to go somewhere. They'll tell me, be very careful. Don't just take anything. Don't speak to strangers. And we all know we were taught by our parents. Thank you for liking, guys. Continue to like, continue to share. We are wrapping off. I've got, one last country. Mantha, the last question from me. Since it doesn't need to be last, you can ask as many as you want. Top 5 countries you have never visited and wish to visit next. Okay, sis, I'll share that. I see you, Domi and Andre Marcus. Welcome. So I decided to go to Panama. This was a country that could lead me to South Africa. Panama, was out of this world. And I'm looking at their canal. I did go to a canal and I've got a video there of what happened when I went to the canal. And very interesting country. For me, when I went to Panama, it resembled Jozi, Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban, with its building, with its cuisines and type of people. I even ate, Googled and found an awesome restaurant that has oxtail, and I was missing home by then. It was over 7 months. I had traveled to 13 countries, and Panama was my 14 countries. And I thought I was going home when I was still in Nicaragua. I had packed my backpack and said my thank you to God and send up my gratitude. So I was ready to come back to South Africa, but I couldn't because of the visas, and I was in the middle of South America, Central America. So I had to go. This was the country that saved me. This was one country that made sense to me to go to so that I could travel back to South Africa without spending a fortune on visas or waiting. I wasn't ready to wait anymore. I wanted to go. And you can travel from Nicaragua to Panama. Panama is also in Central America or South America with a bus. That was my plan, but they also had the manifestation. The buses weren't working. The roads were closed. When I got to the bus terminal, I was told, sorry, no bus to Panama. I had to book a flight, guys. On that day, I was tired. I wanted to get out of this country, which they kept on saying it's not safe for me. And I took a flight. It was very expensive because when you book a flight on the day you travel, you know what happens. And I was ready for that. And when I got to Panama, I was like, oh, I'm already in South Africa, in South America. And it was chilled, well-developed country, big airport as well. So I think it's the connecting airport or country as well, just like about Dubai, where you can go to different countries. That's one of those airports, or OR Tambo in Africa, and also other countries overseas. So I loved Panama, and Panama happened to be my final country. I always wanted to go to Panama, but I didn't have it on my gap year countries that I would actually go to. But I landed in Panama. Love it, love it, love it. Good afternoon, Pendula. And in closing, I just want to touch on, and then I'll answer you, Martha, countries that I would love to go back to. So let's talk about that. I've been to 14 countries. Which ones would I love to go back to? I would love to go back to Thailand. Although I've been to Thailand 3 times, definitely want to go back. Want to go back to Indonesia. I've been twice. I think I'll go 100 times. Bali, more especially. Love to go to Singapore again. Not crazily wanting to go urgently, but would definitely go to Singapore. Sri Lanka, any day I'll go to Sri Lanka. Turkey, I can even move to Turkey. My child stayed there. Love it, love it, love it. Georgia, I wanna go back to Georgia and go to other cities, not just Tbilisi. Mexico, that is my second home. That's my spirit country. Guatemala, definitely for hiking. You know, the volcano and see a live volcano there. Countries that I'm on the fence with, and they could be your favorite country. I've said my reasons. Utombi, oh, I remember that. Okay, Utombi, that must be scary. Yes, Sissy, good afternoon, ma'am. Okay, good afternoon, Peter. How was your experience? I think you're saying, ma'am. How was your experience in South Africa? I'm South African. South Africa is my home, born and bred in South Africa. South Africa, you can't say you've traveled when you've never been to South Africa. People say you haven't traveled until you go to India. I say you haven't traveled until you go to South Africa, although I still want to go to India, by the way. And I won't go alone. I'll never solo travel to India. And the one child of mine that I asked to go to India with, she turned me down, said, no, not there, for whatever reasons that she gave, which I won't share here. What are the challenges you face when you were traveling? What were the challenges? I didn't even stress about the language because I mean I went to countries where they didn't speak English, so I didn't find it challenging. It was exciting for me. What could have been the challenges? Maybe the visa side, where there's countries where I couldn't fly from here to there because they just changed the laws regarding a visa. I think that was one of the challenges. Gucci, you must always check because they can change overnight. You think when you're gonna be in transit in Dubai, you don't need a visa as a South African, and then you wake up tonight they changed that rule. You need a visa to be in transit, not just leaving the airport and traveling into Dubai. So countries, I'll read yours, don't be. Countries that are going back, I told you which countries I'll go back. France, where I'm like, comme ci, comme ça, in French language. Yeah, not sure, but maybe if someone convinces me and gives me money or say, let's go on a group trip and yeah, promises me something major, I'll go. It's Malaysia, Costa Rica. Those two countries, not crazy, but I will not budget and go anytime soon unless there's a specific reason. So I'm on the fence with those two countries that I said, been there, done that. I'm not planning to go back, guys. I'm not planning to go back unless one of my children get married there, or someone that I know say twist my arm and convince me and say, no man, I'll pay for your flights, let's go, or let's go try out a hike or run or something, then I'll go. Because I love experiences. It's Cambodia. Not keen on going back. It's a beautiful country. If you're gonna go, you're gonna love it, but I'm not keen, guys. I don't think there's anything there for me. Nicaragua, not keen on going back to Nicaragua, and yet you can go and surf there. Beautiful country like Belize. If you're in South America, go to Belize, go to Nicaragua, you'll enjoy surfing. But get right. And Philippines. Still wanna island hop, but those three countries I've written, Gucci, unless something major happens in my life, they're not countries that I think I would want to go back. I'm okay. I went. No hate on them, but they're not in my heart. They didn't steal my heart. And the Philippines, it's because I wasn't well. In Nicaragua, because everyone told me how unsafe it was. I must be very careful. I might disappear on thin air. I might be, traffic. It was just a lot for me to handle. And in Cambodia, I was like, I think it's okay. Maybe if you come from the Africa that's not fully developed, but it's a beautiful country. So your question was 5 countries you've never visited and wish to visit next. I would love to go to Spain. if I still carried on go Europe for my birthday next month, definitely I was gonna go to Spain, but I decided no, let me leave Europe alone to finish my money. I'll go to Spain. I still wanna go to Spain, babes. I still want to go to South Korea in Asia. I think I love that country. Japan, you don't need a visa as a South African. Japan is on another level. I don't want to die before going to Japan. There's so many countries I would love to go to. And guys, besides this is 14, I've got other countries that I've traveled to before my gap here. I'll share those some other time. So it will be Spain. Spain, I want to go when they've got a tomato festival. You know, I'm fun and crazy like that and go for the tomato festival. I definitely want to do Japan. I definitely want to do South Korea. I definitely want to do Brazil. Brazil, and I wanna go when they have a festival and go crazy and samba and go watch soccer. Yo, guys, I love Brazil. There is Brazil. Brazil is South America. So Nicaragua is Central America. Yes, I got it twisted because I'm thinking no, but I haven't been to South America. So guys, I've gone to Europe, I've gone to Asia during my gap year and Central America. I'm Brazil, I'm in South America. I haven't touched South America, you know. I still want to do South America, which is Peru. I would love to go to Peru, but not agent. Brazil, which is in South America. So excuse me there, guys. And then the fifth one that I want to go to, it has to be Africa. I think I want to go to Cote d'Ivoire. You know, I'm planning to travel Africa, but there's a few countries that drives me crazy in Africa, and Cote d'Ivoire, which used to be Ivory Coast, is one of those countries. And another country that fascinates me, the color, the complexion of the people, and the warmthness of the people, is Senegal. You know, I just love Senegal, guys. I hope I get to go to Senegal. But again, other continents, and there's a lot of countries I still would love to go to. And I won't share others because I don't want some people overtaking me. I've got others that I would really want to go, but definitely Spain, definitely Brazil in South America. I haven't done South America. Definitely Japan, South Korea, and I had another one before I spoke about Africa. I will do a lot of countries like I did with overseas in Africa. I want to travel Africa because Africa is a different ball game. When they say don't go, you don't go. So I need to gather my strength, but there are ladies who are traveling Africa solo. So I want to do African countries, and if possible by bus. Just go in those croquette chicken passes. Yeah, when you are in Guatemala, go into a chicken pass. I took one chicken pass in Costa Rica. It was very fun. So that's that. And I think there's another question. And wish to visit next. Okay, I've answered you. I think that was Martha. Which countries? I've got a lot, yo, Martha. I've got a lot of favorite countries that I pray that I don't die before visiting. I can't wait to hear how you traveled with a backpack. I'm not a light packer. That can be tricky for me. Okay, Toby, I'll share a video. And for over 7 months, I traveled only with a backpack. Only. We'll talk about that. I'm glad that you have managed to reach out to so many countries. Being a South African, congratulations. May the grace of God be with you forever. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. How about it, Peter? Pleasure. Yeah, love traveling. You don't want to be in Brazil in the Temple of Solomon. I wouldn't mind. I love Brazil. Samba. Oh, Brazil is one of my favorite countries. Definitely I'll go into Brazil. And I'm thinking, guys, I've got so many faves. And with my faith, my one country, but people say a lot, about that country, especially if you're African, is Italy. You know, they see us, they think, you know what happens there. But I do want to go to Italy, and obviously Switzerland with its expense. That's Europe. You don't just talk about Europe. I'll rather talk about other countries. Nobody will overtake you. Everything is possible. You are, oh, thank you. I receive. So, guys, I'll definitely do Africa. I'm ready for Africa. I'm excited about Africa because I haven't done much of traveling in Africa except South Africa, where I'm born and bred, Eswatini, which is my second home, Botswana. I've done Zimbabwe. Those are the 4 African countries that I've done. I still would love to do others. Let me not share because I've got plans that are coming soon for others. And I'm excited. I want to one day sit and say, I've traveled 14 African countries in like 3 months, but I don't like rushed travel. So even with my gap year, I stayed, I think I've shared an average of 2 weeks in a country because I don't believe in this thing of 4 nights that I did in Cambodia and you review a country. You don't know that country. You just went in, you ate lunch and you left. How can you then sit down and tell people about the country that you haven't traveled? So I want to spend some time. I think, yeah, and even though I know it will be a bit challenging, but that's that. But thank you for watching, guys. I'll come back. So one of my kids said they're waiting for a video, or I did a Thai massage and I regretted it. I'll do that video tomorrow and I'll post it during the week, and I'll come back on Saturday. Definitely, guys, I'll try to be live. If I'm not live, please know I've got personal commitments on a week, Saturdays more especially. And then I'll do a video where I share how I traveled for over 7 months with the backpack. And I've got a lot of topics regarding my traveling. My gap year was very interesting. And I want to tell you also about the story, you know, one yeah, hectic story. Not hectic, but one of the scariest things. Not scariest, but yeah, challenging, something that happened when I was traveling Georgia. Because just to warn you, Guti, these are the things you need to watch out for when you travel solo, and take care of yourself and be careful. But don't let fear stop you from traveling. And if you've traveled, please do share which countries you've been and what you loved about those countries and what was challenging or you didn't like. And would you go back, or you are on the fence like me with some of the countries, or you say never, 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 unless someone twists your arm. And also share the countries that you definitely going to travel back because you love them so much, like Moa now when it comes to Thailand, when it comes to Turkey. Love Turkey, guys. When it comes to Mexico, I've got countries that you can wake me up tonight and say, let's go. I'll pack my backpack or my suitcase this time around because I'll be going on vacay and it won't be a gap year, and go back to those countries. But guys, the world is massive, humongous. Please don't repeat the countries unless you have to. Go to countries that you've never been. I'm trying to do that, and that's challenging because I'm like, I don't want to go to Thailand, not now, maybe 3 years from now. Can I go to at least Japan or South Korea, to where I've never been? So Jamaica is one island I want to go to. How can I leave that out? I love it, Rastafari. I think I love Jamaica. I think the Jamaicans will receive me with love. I love Jamaica, guys. Before I spoke about Africa, I'm thinking, which 5th country did I want to mention? Jamaica, guys. I want to go to Jamaica. I think I'll fit in nicely there. I'll come back as a vegan. In fact, I must go for 2 months and say, yeah, what's the tingle? That's how the tingle goes. I love Jamaica. So there's lots of countries I still want to go to. So I really enjoyed your stories. I liked and subscribed. Thank you so much. But next time when I talk about investment, please don't say, oh, I'm only here for travel, because I talk investments. I talk about traveling, because how do you travel if you don't invest and put monies away? And I also talk about work life every now and then, because for now I'm gap yearing and I'm going towards 2 years, so I can't talk much about workplace and all that, although I've worked for almost 3 decades. So I just every now and then I'll talk about, yeah, how it is to work, to be employed, whether self-employed or employed by someone or running your own business, but mostly it's travels and investment. So don't run away and say, what content is this? Because I know YouTube subscribers, they finicky like that. We only subscribe for this. Why are you now showing us that? You know, we can get that from that other channel. So please do stay. Is it Shemia? I hope I didn't butcher your name, and welcome to this awesome family. I have liked your page too. Thank you, Peter. God bless, Peter. Stay blessed. May God multiply your territory. Girl, I need some of that stuff you're smoking. Come get it, KB. It's awesome stuff. It's Jesus. I know you don't have him. Come get him. I'm here for it. Okay, thank you so much, and stay blessed and good night. Because yeah, as you can see in SA, it gets dark quicker than in summer because days are short. It is winter season, winter season. And thanks for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Continue sharing. Do not skip the ads. And let's spread some love. Let's share the information. This page, or rather the channel, is about information sharing. Why must I keep it? Why must I die with it? I share it with my family that are not as rude as this person. How can I get this person out for good? So goodbye, KB. See you in the next life. So he's gone for good. Okay, I've reported him nicely. Bye, guys. Okay, so see him on the other side, or her. So bye, guys.